Women had been trying to get into UVA as students for quite a long time, but around the end of the 60s, 1960s, there became a really strong push for basically equal rights. And then right before 1970, which was when women were fully admitted to UVA, there was a lawsuit. And it was also increasingly clear to the Board of Visitors that the plaintiffs would win. And so rather than that happening, the university began to try to work with the plaintiffs of the lawsuit. However, the lawsuit really was the thing that made the university admit women. Students had so many questions and needs, but also desires for opportunities. When I was director of women's studies, people would call me up and say, what about internships? You know, are there opportunities for me to work with women globally? I'm really interested in the whole notion of development and women's part of it in Africa. How can I do that? You know, can you help me? And other students would call up and say, I've been raped. You know, can you help me? I was very moved by and very touched by it, and really feeling a lot of pain at the number of women who were contacting me about sexual assault. There was not really a structure in which survivors could get the support they needed. Having private and professional and very confidential counseling in a situation that feels warm. So many students who come for counseling say they walk in the door and they have this feeling of warmth.
Counseling has changed so much in just 8 years. Starting August 1st, we will have 4 full-time staff in counseling. So to say going forward, how will it be different? I'm only guessing it'll just keep growing.
First year the Women's Center opened, we were put in one big room in, really not that big, but in minor halls. One day I had Fran Giordano, who is a graduate student in mental health counseling at the Curry School, just walk in the door and say, would you like to have counselors here? And I found 4 rooms that we fixed up that could be counseling spaces. We moved the next year into where we currently are, and I had been looking that whole first year, 1989-90, for where is a space that isn't being used that we could move into. And I found one over in the corner building where we are now. So I just marched over to the Vice President for Health Sciences and said, you know, here's what the Women's Center is doing, and we really need space, and it just happens that in the corner building there's the whole second floor that is open, and what do you think? And the Vice President of Health Sciences at the time very clearly did not want to say, you can have this space. He was like humming, hawing. Finally, it was actually the day that people refer to as the Ides of March, and which is supposed to be a bad luck day. And so finally he just said, okay, the Ides of March. so fine with me. That's how we got to the space where we are today. In 1990, there were a large number, and you know, this is not to say this is only a year that there were a large number, but of sexual assaults that students became very aware of. And so the male and female students went to the rotunda and had a candle. Each candle represented a survivor, and they stood on the rotunda steps and would not leave and kept the candle burning all night. Someone else would, you know, come and take that candle until the Washington Post arrived, and all of a sudden the university said, okay, I think we can fund a half-time sexual assault educator. I went over with another faculty member and talked to Gelly Sullivan, who was at that time the head of the Alumni Association, and said, we've got a half, you know, could you give us the other half? So we would have a whole position for sexual assault prevention and response. And he didn't think about it too long before he said yes, but he said, this is temporary. So we had a full-time position. Claire came on board as the director of sexual assault education in 1991. And sure enough, that was supposedly a temporary year, but the university decided that that would be permanent and ongoing.
So the day I came here for I got an interview, and I'm sitting in the Women's Center, which was the upstairs of this building, but that's all it was the upstairs. So I was sitting up there, and as I was sitting there, they got a phone call from I think it was the Alumni Association. They were pitching in the other half to make it a full-time job. That was the day I came for my interview. And so I thought, that's auspicious. When I came to the University of Virginia in August of 1991, the environment here was really different than it is now. Well, I think that we're in a really interesting moment, especially around the issues of sexual and gender-based violence. So much is changing in terms of the policies here, in terms of the institutional support. I mean, there could be way more, but I mean, it's a big change this year, big change. But I would love to see a lot more integration of these topics into the general curriculum. And I don't mean that every teacher has to teach on this. What I mean is that when there are opportunities to engage students in some way or another, to learn about how this particular issue affects and infects pretty much everything there is. If the messages of bystander intervention and people taking responsibility for others just becomes part of the culture, it would be interesting to see how life is here for students and people who work here 25 years from now.
So it's the 25th anniversary of the Women's Center, and that is amazing to me and wonderful. The students and the staff and the faculty at the Women's Center and all of our allies and partners really wanted to celebrate loud and clear about the 25th anniversary. So everyone came together and we had a gala at the Fralin Museum of Art. The most important things, though, happened to be the people who spoke. We had Julie Lynn there, who is the daughter of, she's an alum of UVA, and she's the daughter of Maxine Platzer Lynn, for whom the Women's Center is now named.
Keep choosing at every stage of your life to challenge yourselves to make the world a different and better place for men and for women. All of you can be part of a more peaceful, a better, a more advanced world, and that work starts in your education, whether you are doing the educating or whether you are being educated. And I actually think that they intertwine all the time.
I know that as I leave, you know, I'm retiring in June, that the Women's Center is as strong as it ever has been. And it really comes down to inclusiveness, to have a center that is just increasingly inclusive in terms of race, of ethnicity, of religion, of having, to me, that is one of the most important things, next steps for the Women's Center. But I think there is now a moment in history when the Women's Center is just so strong and so stable and so encouraged by just many, many students that the embrace of students of the issues of the university and of our world really can expand.
Hi, Hi, I'm Colette Thompson, and I am the UVA's Women's Center.
My name is Caroline Demon, and I'm the UVA Women's Center.
My name is Agnes Filipowski, and I'm the UVA Women's Center.
I'm Leanne Carver, and I am the UVA Women's Center.
My name is Hannah Tribble, and I am the UVA Women's Center.
My name is Julie Kisnerick, and I am the UVA Women's Center.
My name is Geronda Miller, and I am the UVA Women's Center.
My name is Sarah Roderick, and I am the UVA Women's Center.
I'm Sharon Davey, and I am the Maxine, Platzer, Lynn Women's Center. And I'd like to invite all of you to join the Women's Center and our community as we imagine, act, and lead into the next 25 years.